1,000 men are walking side by side, singing songs from home, the Spirit as their guide. They walk toward the light, my Lord. They walk toward the sun. They smoke and laugh and smile together, no foes to outrun. These men live on forever in the hearts of those they saved, a nation truly grateful for the path of peace they paved. They march as friends and comrades, but they do not march for war. Step closer to salvation, a tranquil, steady core. The meadows lit with golden beams, a beacon for the brave. The emerald grass untrampled, a reward for what they gave. They dream of those they left behind, and know they dream of them. Forever in those poppy fields, there walks 1,000 men. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Remembrance Day ceremony at the Royal Canadian Legion, Orléans Branch 632. My name's Dan Mooney, alongside Joe McNulty, a revered and venerable member here at Orléans Branch 632. Joe, thank you so much for your service, and thank you for joining us here today. How significant is this ceremony for the people within this community?
I think it's very significant, Dan, and thank you for having me. We have veterans that have died just on Trim Road here. A veteran from Paardeberg, the Royal Canadian Regiment, lived here. We've had people from Paardeberg, which is the Boer War, World War I, World War II. Our parade commander is from Afghanistan, along with the president, his wife. They're both Afghanistan veterans, which we have quite a few at this branch, more than most. I'm from Bosnia and from the Middle East, and there's quite a few peacekeepers here. And we're well representative. We're one of the very few legions that have more ordinary members than associates, which means more people that had served than had not served. And so we're quite lucky to have a large legion, the largest in the National Capital Region, with over 700 and some odd members. But that's declining. When we first started the Legion, of course we had none.
What's going to be?
The poem that I read off the top of this program was written by a 14-year-old boy named Joshua Dyer. He was tasked at his school to write a poem for Remembrance Day in 2019. An hour later, without any help, he produced the poem that I read. And it was so well received that Joshua Dyer received a letter from Prince Philip, then the Duke of Edinburgh, thanking him for producing such a moving and heartfelt piece of creative writing. This day, very special for everybody that served at so many different levels, Joe.
You're right. We've got privates, we got airmen, we got seamen, and we go all the way up to generals and admirals that are members of this Legion.
Now, this ceremony has been going on for quite a few years. This is my 11th here at Branch 632. This provides such a wonderful opportunity for this community to come out, pay their respects for all of those who served, and there's each branch of the military here, members of the RCMP, other police forces, anybody that has put their lives on the line.
Yes, and you'll notice that our band is the band of the pipes and drums of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who every year come out here. But they've had a significant change in leadership this year. Pipe Major Graham Ogilvie has stepped down after 22 years. 25 years in the band, but he'll still be piping out there. And Pipe Major Ian Beck is taking over from him, and he's going to be a very strong leader.
Young people are here. Older folks are here. And this is one of the most well-attended and respectful services that you'll see. Just making sure that the people of this community get an opportunity to say thank you.
Yeah, as I said, it's the official Ottawa Remembrance Day ceremony, and we've got about between 2 and a few years 4,000 spectators. We have a number of people on parade. That's dwindling because our veteran base is dwindling.
How quickly is that base dwindling?
Very quickly. There are no more World War II veterans. Our last of the Korean veterans that we used to come on parade is no longer with us. So you're going to see that there's the veteran company that comes out here is going to be very, very, very small. When we used to have 200 vets on, now we're lucky to get 25, 30 vets. That's how bad it's gotten. What we do would need is the new veterans, the veterans from Afghanistan, Bosnia. Those that can march, we need them on parade. Their parade's just stepping off now, and should be here very shortly.
Here they come. And this is tremendously significant for these men and women who have not only served our country, but upon their return back to Canada, they've served their communities through the Legion and have really made sure that all of the service from each and every one, and you see young and old in that parade, are recognized for their service in behind the RCMP marching band. And having grown up in an RCMP family with mom and dad, both members of the force, there really isn't much that's more impressive than the Red Surge.
Well, I come from a Guards background, so I wore the scarlets and the bearskin of the Governor General's foot guards for a while.
And more Legion veterans in behind. And
as I said, it's a very small contingent of veterans.
And active members following.
Yeah, they're members of the 33 Canadian engineers.
This is one of the more impressive parts of this ceremony, and having not served in this kind of capacity, I can only imagine the sense of pride that they feel.
Especially young cadets. They're the ones. They're brand new to the Canadian Armed Forces as a cadet, and they march with very good pride, along with all our other soldiers out there. And even the vets. Your head goes higher, your chest goes out as you're marching by.
And what a significant contribution of those cadets. There were 4 cadets standing guard at the cenotaph for the last 24 hours.
Yes. We started that just after COVID, and we think it's a great idea, and that way they participate in the Remembrance.
And they work in 24 or half-hour shifts, 30 minutes on, then they go in. They stood out in the rain last night, and that rain was coming down pretty heavy. Yes. And they stood their post, as all soldiers do.
Yeah. And you notice the new drum major, she's the assistant drum major. The drum major that's normally here, Brad Hansen, he's away in a much-deserved cruise with his wife. They just came back from Edinburgh, where he's the lead poster boy for the Edinburgh tattoo.
And no doubt he sang.
Yes, like his father.
Yep. Garth, former member of the RCMP, and just an absolutely wonderful man. I've had an opportunity to speak with him on several occasions, and he certainly served his country well and really paved the way for Brad to follow in his footsteps.
Yeah, well, the whole family are volunteers. His sister, the whole great patriotic family. Brad started off with the Governor General's Foot Guards also.
Ceremony about to begin here at Orleans Legion Branch 632. And such an impressive cenotaph, and the Legion works so hard to make sure that all of the veterans are really celebrated today.
Yes, and the what you see is Andre Fournier, the Sergeant of Arms and the parade commander setting up the parade. What they're doing now is called dressing, making sure they're all lined up properly and in straight rows, making them look like soldiers. Andre's an Afghanistan veteran, as I mentioned earlier.
Heading toward what is such a wonderfully impressive cenotaph here at the Orleans Legion. How did that all come about, Joe?
Oh, well, when we just got the building built, it was decided that we'd buy the lot next door to us, and we all put in, all the members there put $200 or more into the buying this land, and then we come up with a sculpture to have this a cenotaph built. It depicts a family standing there, mother and father and child, and then on top of it, the outline of the soldiers, the unknown soldiers that have died, just the shape of it. And it's quite unique. But unfortunately, it's been vandalized a few times, and we've had to have it repaired. And here comes our politicians now, led by our president, Wen Fournier.
Stephen Blais, Minister of Provincial Parliament now, Mark Sutcliffe, the Mayor of Ottawa, Laura Dudas, Matt Luloff, Tim Tierney, Fred Sherwin,
and Major General Smith. And the presence of our Ladies Auxiliary, sir.
Who perform such an important function at each and every Legion branch.
Unfortunately, they're dwindling faster than the ordinary members are. Their numbers are getting very, very small. And a lot of the Legions no longer have Ladies Auxiliary because they just don't have the ladies.
They've always done such wonderful work within each and every one of their communities.
They raise a lot of money for the veterans.
Well, not only in fundraising, but also the day-to-day stuff that is so important to keep each and every Legion branch alive.
That's correct. In some Legions, the Ladies Auxiliary cook all the food. We used to have that. Now we're lucky to have a very good caterer. They for this parade are collecting sandwiches from across the community, preparing for the after parade area, and they're working very hard to make this a good day. It's the first year we've got cadets on the color party too, which is well added to the color party.
Temperature hovering around 2 or 3 degrees right now. Earlier this morning, it was warm. The sun was shining, and many of us thought we may have overdressed, but since the clouds have rolled in, the temperature has dropped 5 or 6 degrees, and we no longer have that concern about overdressing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to branch 632 of the Royal Canadian Legion. My name is Joyce Bisson, and I will be your master of ceremonies today. Bon matin, mesdames et messieurs. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue à la filiale 632 de la Légion royale canadienne. Je m'appelle Joyce Bisson et je serai votre maître de cérémonie aujourd'hui. Pour honorer les peuples autochtones qui vivent sur cette terre depuis des milliers d'années, nous reconnaissons que la Légion royale canadienne est située sur le territoire traditionnel et non obligé des peuples algonquins et anishinabés. Nous reconnaissons et respectons les gens algonquins et anishinabés comme des gardiens passés, présents et futurs de cette terre. Et nous nous efforçons de travailler avec eux envers la réconciliation de la guérison. To honor the indigenous people who have lived on this land for thousands of years, we acknowledge that the Royal Canadian Legion is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. We recognize and respect the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land, and we strive to work with them towards reconciliation and healing. In a few moments, our service will begin with the singing of the national anthem led by the Cumberland Community Singers and the Ottawa Boys Choir. Please join them in singing. Dans un instant, nous commencerons notre cérémonie avec notre hymne national qui sera mené par les chanteurs communautaires de Cumberland et le Ottawa Boys Choir. Veuillez nous joindre pour chanter l'hymne national.
Not yet.
1218, à la 11e heure du 11e jour du 11e mois, les armes de la Première Guerre mondiale ont devenu silencieux. Depuis ce jour, nous avions tenu une cérémonie de souvenir pour nos camarades qui, dans les océans, sur la terre et dans l'air, ont donné leur vie pour leur pays et leur souverain. Leur sacrifice nous inspire à continuer le travail d'assurer l'assistance pour ceux qui ont survécu et qui ont besoin d'aide et de faire du pays où nous vivons et pour lequel ils sont morts un lieu digne du sacrifice qu'ont fait ces soldats et leurs familles. In 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the guns of the First World War fell silent. Since that day, we have held a service of remembrance for those of our comrades who, by sea, by land, and in the air, have laid down their lives for their country and sovereign. Their sacrifice will ever inspire us to labor on so that those who survived and need our aid may be assured of assistance, and that the country in which we live and for which they died may ever be worthy of the sacrifice they and their family made.
Please join in singing the hymn Abide With Me. Veuillez nous joindre pour chanter l'hymne Abide With Me.
Dieu est pour nous un refuge et un appui, un secours qui ne manque jamais dans la détresse. L'Éternel est mon berger, je ne manquerai de rien. Il me fait reposer dans de verts pâturages, il me dirige près des eaux paisibles. Il restaure mon âme, il me conduit dans les sentiers de la justice à cause de son nom. Oui, le bonheur et la grâce m'accompagneront tous les jours de ma vie, et j'habiterai dans la maison de l'Éternel jusqu'à la fin de mes jours.
I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea. The Lord God Almighty is with us. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows.
Ils ne vieilliront pas comme nous qui leur ont survécu. Ils ne connaîtront jamais l'outrage ni le poids des années. Quand viendra l'heure du crépuscule et celle de l'aurore, nous nous souviendrons d'eux, nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Au champ d'honneur, les coquelicots sont parsemés de lot en lot auprès des croix. Et dans l'espace, les alouettes, devenues lasses, mêlent leur chant au sifflement des obusiers. Nous sommes morts, nous qui songions la veille encore, à nos parents, à nos amis, c'est nous qui reposons ici, au champ d'honneur. À vous, jeunes désabusés, à vous de porter l'oriflamme et de garder au fond de l'âme le goût de vivre en liberté. Acceptez le défi, sinon les coquelicots se faneront au champ d'honneur.
À ce moment, nous demandons à tous ceux qui posent des couronnes de se diriger vers le côté gauche du cenotaph. At this time, we ask that all those who are laying wreaths make their way to the right side or to the left side of the cenotaph. Thank you. The Government of Canada, le gouvernement du Canada, the Honourable Marie-France Lalonde, Member of Parliament for Orléans. Mothers of Canada, Memorial Cross recipient, les Mères du Canada, récipiendaires de la Croix du Souvenir, Jacqueline Girard, widow of Chief Warrant Officer Bobby Girard, who was killed in action in Afghanistan. The Province of Ontario, la Province de l'Ontario, Honorable Stephen Blais, Member of the Provincial Parliament for Orléans. City of Ottawa, la Ville d'Ottawa, His Worship Mark Sutcliffe, Mayor of Ottawa. The Canadian Armed Forces, Department of National Defense, les Forces armées canadiennes, Major General Craig Smith, Director General International Security Policy. Combat Engineer Regiment, Régiment du Génie de Combat, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Fox, Commanding Officer, and Chief Warrant Officer Thompson, Regimental German General Major. Mapping and charting establishment of the Canadian Armed Forces, le service de cartographie des forces canadiennes, d'armée canadienne, Major Janie Ranford, Officer, Commanding Officer. The Royal Canadian Legion, Orleans, Branch 632, la Légion Royale Canadienne d'Orléans, Filiale 632, Comrade Wynne Fournier, President. While the President is laying the wreath, we would like to ask that you say a prayer for the branch members who have passed away since our last Remembrance Day. May they rest in peace. William Atkinson, Albert Daudelin, William Duncan, Joseph Duquette, Eugene Goslin, Barry Hatfield, Thomas Hendricken, Maslin Hislop, Susan King, Bruce Marr, Wilfred Neal, Frederick Odisic, William Percy, Joseph Pusak, William Reed, John Sayers, William Upton, Ken Vowles, and George Williamson. Ladies Auxiliary, Branch 632, les Dames Auxiliaires du Filiale 632, Wendy Fortier, President. Mounted Police, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada, Corporal Retired Paul Milonas. Police Service, Inspector Marc-André Sheehy. Ottawa Fire Services, Service des incendies d'Ottawa, Mike Woodwork, District Chief. I will now read out the remainder of the wreaths that are being laid. Wreath layers will be escorted to the cenotaph in the order in which their names have been read. The ceremony will continue once the laying of the wreaths have been completed. Hong Kong veterans, Vétérans de Hong Kong, Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Paul J. Conley. D-Day veterans, 27 Armor Regiment, Sherbrooke Fusiliers, ancien combattant de la Jour J, 27e Régiment, Sherbrooke Fusiliers, Michael Brennan. Aboriginal veterans, ancien combattant autochtone, Major Retired Kem Herr. RCMP Veteran Association Ottawa Division, l'Association des vétérans du GRC Division d'Ottawa, retired RCMP Officer John Thomas representing RCMP veterans. Veterans of Afghanistan, Vétérans d'Afghanistan, retired Captain Retired André Fournier, the Royal Canadian Regiment. Royal Canadian Dental Corps Association, l'Association du Corps dentaire royal canadien, Brigadier General Retired Vic Langtis, the Colonel Commandant of the Royal Canadian Dental Corps, and Chief Warrant Officer Retired Mario Bézier. .410 William Baker Victoria Cross, Wing Royal Canadian Air Force Association, 410 Escadre, l'Association d'Aviation Royale Canadienne, Squadron Leader Retired Bill Sunderman. Youths of Canada, Jeunesse Canada, Girl Guide Ranger, M. Najira and Anna Feltmate. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will Society of the Knights of the Round Table, Société des Chevaliers de la Table Ronde, Master Corporal Retired Jack Donnelly. Mouvement d'implication francophone d'Orléans, Orleans Francophone Involvement Movement, Trevor Cousineau, President, and Mélanie Routier-Boudreau, CEO. The Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada, l'Institut professionnel de la fonction publique du Canada, Wayam Khan, Director, National Capital Region. They're not there. Chevalier de Colomb, l'Assemblée 2079, Knights of Columbus, Assembly 2079, Veteran Fern Landry. Rotary Club of Orleans, Rotary Club d'Orléans, Batul Sindiki, past president, Rotary Club of Orleans, and Teresa Whitmore, District Governor 7040. Lions Club, Club Lyon, George Papas and Rob Ewing. Orleans Star, L'Orléanais, Fred Sherwin, publisher. Orleans Federal Conservative Electoral District Association, l'Association de la circonscription électorale fédérale conservatrice d'Orléans, Rob McCallan, VP. Orleans Provincial Conservative Association, Association conservatrice provinciale d'Orléans, Philip Tisway, President. Orleans Provincial Liberal Women Association, l'Association provinciale des femmes libérales d'Orléans, Barbara Daniela Grandelfo, President. In memory of, en mémoire de Bill Toombs, his wife Monica Toombs.
Major. For Shelby. Is that Shelby's dad? No, that's Major.
In memory of, en mémoire de Raymond et Janine Saint-Louis, their son Claude Saint-Louis. In memory of Robert, en mémoire de Robert Saint-Louis, Claude Saint-Louis. In memory, en mémoire de Master Warrant Officer Raoul Ray Fournier, Warrant Officer Retired Roger Fournier. In memory, en mémoire de Tail Gunner Sergeant Roger Fournier, his niece Patricia Gamble. In memory, en mémoire de John Hardy, Diane Champagne, on behalf of John's great-granddaughter, Marlene Frost. In memory, en mémoire de Chris Yerberg, Major Chris Yerberg, his daughter Shelley Yerberg. Medical Services, Army, Navy, Air Force, Dr. Philip Winkelhauser. Knights of Columbus, Assembly 78-73, Assemblée des Chevaliers de Colomb 78-73, Paul Bork.
Much better this year. Much better.
us pray. Prions.
Dieu Tout-Puissant, Créateur et soutien dans l'amour nous enveloppe, dans la vie comme dans la mort. Nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui pour t'offrir nos remerciements et pour nous rappeler
Avec reconnaissance ceux et celles qui ont sacrifié leur vie pour préserver la paix et la justice dans le monde. En silence et du plus profond dans nos cœurs, nous te rappelons leur nom. Dieu éternel, nous te confions tous ceux et celles qui souffrent dans leur corps et dans leurs esprits des horreurs de la guerre. Veille sur les familles et les membres des forces canadiennes sur la terre, en mer et dans l'air, qui, avec nos alliés, luttent bravement contre les forces de la tyrannie et de l'oppression. Puissons-nous être courageux en gardant la main sur ce qui est bon, et que le Dieu de paix soit avec nous. Amen.
May we never forget the example of those who served and still served, and faithful to this example, give us the grace to imitate them in the spirit of sacrifice and service. Help us to carry with honor the torch of freedom that they have so proudly passed on to us. We thank you for the peace we enjoy here in Canada, for the opportunity we have to build a better future because of the sacrifice of thousands and brave men. Bring those who are currently served back home safely to their families and friends. Be present with the leaders and citizens of this world so that under their leadership we may learn to walk the path of peace and justice and reconciliation. God of love, hear our cries, which we offer to you in faith, trusting in your eternal life. Help us to be brave, holding on to what is good, and may the God of peace be with us today and always. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the choir in singing God Save the King. Mesdames et messieurs, s'il vous plaît, nous joignent la chorale en chantant God Save the King.
Ceremony coming to a close with a bit of a rain shower and God's tears on this day, Joe McNulty.
That's right, but just remember the soldiers from all the wars that went through weather a lot worse than this, and they didn't complain.
There's a tradition here at branch 632 of the Orléans branch of the Royal Canadian Legion where following the completion of this ceremony, people will rest their poppies on the cenotaph, and that's quite a sight.
It is, and usually they have children from the preschools here, and they have the Scouts and the Boy Scouts and the Girl Guides, and just families come back and pay respect. And I'm not sure how much it will be this year with the rain, but in the nice sunny days, there's like hundreds of people lay their wreaths, their poppies.
And we touched upon earlier the fact that the veterans are dwindling in numbers. And it's just wonderful to see the level of respect that is being shown for all who have served and all who have paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Now the color party is being marched off, or being set up for when they march the entire parade off. There's the pipes and drums of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Of course, playing their rendition of the Maple Leaf Forever. Veterans preparing to exit the ceremony with an immense amount of pride. These men have all served their country and not only represented their families, but each and every community that they come from far and wide across this country.
That's for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending our Remembrance Day service today. Everyone is invited inside, but there are refreshments available. There will also be live entertainment starting at 1 p.m. Please remain in place until the parade has marched off.
Veterans receiving...
Mesdames et messieurs, on vous remercie d'être venus à notre cérémonie du jour du souvenir. Vous êtes invités de rentrer avec nous, où il y aura des breuvages servis. Il y aura aussi du divertissement commençant à 13 heures. S'il vous plaît, restez en place jusqu'à la parade soit partie.
Veterans and active members of the military receiving applause so richly deserved as they make their way out of the cenotaph area. We are at the close of yet another remembrance of those who served in this country. Joe McNulty, any final words?
Well, there's the general taking the salute, General Smith, from the Royal Canadian Regiment, and it's always warm to the heart when you see the soldiers marching by. I've done it for many years, and it never goes cold. We remember them.
Lest we forget. For Joe McNulty and our entire Rogers TV crew, we'd just like to say thank you to everybody who is associated in putting together such a wonderful ceremony. And this, my 11th, this has been going on for a lot longer than that. And it's just, Joe, it's an absolute honor to be part of this ceremony on an annual basis. Thank you.
Well, Dan, thank you for very much coming out. As we said, this is Ottawa's official Remembrance Day parade. One downtown is the national one. So we're very happy to host it.
Of course, Taylor Creek Road. This branch 632 is located in Orléans, which is about a half an hour from downtown Ottawa on a good day without traffic. And Taylor Creek Road blocked off as it is on an annual basis for this particular ceremony. There will be festivities in the Legion Hall all day, and now it's more an opportunity to say thank you on a more personal level once everybody heads inside today to get warm and dry, but
and to renew old acquaintance and to build up the comrade of arms.
You'll be seeing people laying their poppies on the cenotaph, and that has become a tradition here at this ceremony. And the cenotaph will be, or the tableau on the cenotaph will be invisible by the time everybody has
usually, yes,
deposited their poppies. So any final thoughts, Joe?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you, Dan. Rogers has been a great supporter to the Legion, and we really we really like to have you guys come out every year so we can show our respect to the troops and the fallen. It's an honor to be here, to be part of this ceremony on an annual basis. So once again, thank you, Joe. Thank you to Joyce Bisson, who has always done a wonderful job leading and emceeing this ceremony. So on behalf of Joyce Bisson and Joe McNulty from the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 632 in Orleans, my name is Dan Mooney. Thank you so much for joining us here, and keep in mind our veterans on a daily basis, not just on November 11th, lest we forget their service and their sacrifice. Have a good day.
Well, I signed up because I was asked or told to. You know, that's all there was to it. No, I can't be bothered sitting around moping on what might have been or what's going to be. You just take it as it comes.
Hi, I'm Tim Verney. I'm a graduate of the War Amps Champ program and a double-leg amputee. I've had the privilege of knowing a number of War Amps branch members over the years, including a very special man named Aubrey McLean. Aubrey passed away at the age of 95. Years ago in an interview, Aubrey spoke about signing up in the Canadian Armed Forces at the age of 22. he had no idea what lay in store for him and that his life would take a bit of a turn.
My name is Aubrey McLean, and maybe I can start by telling you where my association with the Army began. And it did begin at Mount Allison University, which is in Sackville, New Brunswick. At that time, there was sort of a compulsory COTC set up. That was Canadian Officers Training Corps. All the men in the university had to belong to the COTC, unless you had a good objection for health reasons or whatnot. And so we reported to Fredericton, were enlisted, we were given uniforms, and then we got on the train and headed for Brockville, the officers' training camp. And we were declared glorious second lieutenants when we were finished there. And in the spring of '43, we got the notice that we were going overseas. Eventually, we landed in Belgium. From there, I was sent down to where the 18th Field Company of the 3rd Division was operating.
Men of the Royal Canadian Engineers build a pontoon bridge to take armored vehicles over to the pocket. Working under extreme difficulties, they push the bridge across in record time. Under the watchful eyes of a friend section, the bridge is completed.
We were field engineers. What we considered our major function was building Bailey bridges. And we cleared an area to make sure there were no mines, because the infantry were coming down and they were going across a canal in boats, and our fellows helped them going across on the boats. All of the Canadian Army units came up into the Nijmegen area. There were 1,000 artillery guns fired to start this campaign out of Nijmegen, and it was to clear the German army off the west coast of the Rhine River. And then shortly after that, we were to go over, cross the Rhine River, and everybody was very nervous because we were just wide open going across the river. There were a couple of mortars or grenades landed, I don't know, 50 yards away, but that was all. And first thing we knew, here we were on the other side of the Rhine River. We just followed the infantry along, and finally we got into Germany briefly, came back out into Holland.
In the dogged pursuit of the fleeing Germans, town after town is liberated.
The infantry went ahead of us, and they crossed a canal, and so myself and a corporal from my platoon, we went down to see what was there in the way of a crossing. And there seemed to be a bridge structure further up the canal, so we went up there to have a look to see what was there. But when we got there, we found out the bridge had been badly damaged. So we started back, and I stepped on a landmine, and that was it. That was the end of my Army venture. I went to Canadian Field Hospital, and when I woke up, the doctor was there, and he said, we had to remove your leg. That was it. And the time came when I was on the way back to Canada on a hospital ship, and I went to the hospital in Halifax.
Aubrey was actually fairly forthright about his experience in war and you know, living with an amputation. And again, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't bravado. It was just fact of life.
You just take it as it is. So I went back along with all the other fellows that we'd started out with to finish our course at Mount A. And then I went to Nova Scotia Technical College and got a degree in mechanical engineering. And that was it. And I was on my own. That's the end of my story.
Thankfully, that wasn't the end of Aubrey's story. He married, raised a family, carried on his career, and volunteered to help promote the War Amps, including the CHAMP program and Play Safe programs. He was national director of the Nova Scotia branch. He also served as president and treasurer.
Yes, I became very much involved with the War Amps after that. And at that time, we were quite a group. It was terrific.
It's an organization started by veterans who were injured in the wars. They banded together to provide support and information to promote amputees, helping other amputees, and then realized they'd created something very wonderful that they benefited from, but other people could benefit from too. And so they said, you know what, we've learned a lot about being amputees, and how to live a good life, and why don't we try to help civilians and kids?
We had the feeling that we could look after ourselves. I think that was the general feeling amongst the amputees, that they could look after themselves, whereas the little ones, that's totally different. These are kids. We weren't kids.
My name is Robin. I've been a part of the War Amps since I was born. Aubrey was very dedicated to the War Amps. After losing his limb, he used being an amputee to help so many other amputees in the most positive way he could.
I think Aubrey was happiest when he was at the seminars with the champs. He just came in and chatted and was very down to earth, and he clearly had a soft spot for the champ kids.
Aubrey was always so kind to us. He would talk to all of the families, all of the children. He was very interested in listening to what we had to say, and he was interested in what we were doing.
I remember when I was just going soon into high school, and I told him that I was nervous, and he said, "Oh, don't be nervous. I was nervous to go into the war, but look at me, I'm fine now." So it really puts everything into perspective.
And I tell you, it is absolutely marvelous when you go to the champ seminars and to see those kids. It's a marvel if you can pick out the situation where there's a new kid and that's his first trip to a seminar. If he's from, a small village where he's the only amputee in the whole place, and then all of a sudden here he is at a seminar where there's 75 kids tearing around the place, all with arms and legs missing in one way or another. And it's just such a change comes over the kid. All of a sudden he's tearing around, hooting and hollering. It's a marvelous experience. And those seminars mean so much to the parents, especially the new parents. When they go to a seminar, they're able to talk to the other parents and see all these little bundles of energy rushing around. Makes all the difference in the world. It changes their lives. I can't imagine what they would do without the War Amps.
Whenever I hear the word hero, in my mind, I always think of Aubrey. And it's not because of his actions in the Second World War, which are no doubt very courageous and very honorable. I think of the way that gentleman showed interest in anything me as a blabbery little 7-year-old wanted to talk about. That to me is what made him a hero.
From day one, when I was just a baby, he was there for me, and he really wanted to make that connection with me. He didn't just want to make sure that I was okay as an amputee. He really made sure to talk to my family, my mom and my dad especially, to make sure that they understood that living as an amputee isn't the worst thing that can happen to you.
Aubrey loved the parades. The branch members did a lot in the early days. They would, help take care of the float as need be, and they just loved the kids having fun, and they loved the idea that they were out doing something to help prevent other kids from having accidents that could be prevented, and also help the champs feel proud about themselves and proud to show off their artificial limbs.
He was so positive. He never let his amputation set him back. He strived in everything that he did. So as an amputee myself, I definitely, if there's anyone I want to be like, it's definitely Aubrey.
I don't think Aubrey thought of himself as a role model or a mentor exactly. I expect he simply wanted to be able to contribute and to show other people that life goes on. And an amputation does not have to define who you are or what you are. It's what you do with what's left that matters. These were young kids, 17, 18, 19, coming home, having been through some of the most horrific things any human being could endure, physically and mentally. The fact that they had been able to rise above that and create and build this organization is absolutely phenomenal. I think he'd be very pleased to think that he had some part to play in contributing to that and, helping to inspire the rest of us to carry it on. I promised him that our generation of champs would continue to move the organization forward. As they have done for us, we will do for the next generation of kids. It's, a wonderful legacy that we've got.
Inevitably, the question comes up, how long is the CHAMP program going to go on? And the answer is always that it will go on and on and on. The CHAMP program is one of the great things that has ever been thought of as far as human beings are concerned.
If I hadn't had Aubrey by my side, I wouldn't be who I am today. He changed my life so much. He's the reason I am so positive about my amputation. He's the reason that I want to do everything that I do, and I can't thank him enough for that.